Hi folks, I'm Chef Celeste and welcome to my Louisiana Kitchen, where we take you all around Louisiana through food. On today's episode, we're making chicken and sausage jambalaya. It's one of my favorites and it's going to be one of yours too. So, the ingredients that we have today, we have, of course, chicken, we have some sausage, I have rice, that's the star of the show, we have bell peppers, onions, celery, a little bit of oil going in there, where I have all of my spices here, salt, pepper, some Cajun seasoning going in here. So let me show you the first process. It's easy to use with pre-cooked chicken. If you're a pro, start from scratch, use your raw chicken and your sausage, go from there. So put your oil in. I'm not using a browning agent, so I'm gonna go straight in with my rice. Yes, that is hot. I wanna brown my rice. You wanna stir. While you're doing this here, I'm also gonna add in my aromatics, the celery, the bell pepper. Let's get all of that in. I like nice large chunks. So however you like yours, that's what I want you to do. I'm going to turn my heat down a little bit. Now traditionally, this is done outside. So we are going to, I'm showing you how to do this inside in the kitchen. For those of you that know how to do it outside, feel free, go ahead and do that. So this is I'm not going to say the hard part because none of this is really hard. This is one pot cooking. So when you finish, you're going to serve out of this pot. You are going to clean up one pot plus the dishes that you do. So I want you to make sure that you know this is not complicated, because my goal is to take you from either a beginner to a pro, or if you're a pro, I want you to say, I just figured out another tip in here. So we're gonna keep stirring this here, and in a minute I'll be right back and we'll move on to the next step. All right, now we have everything in here. My rice is browning a little, so take a look at that. So the rice is browning, vegetables are cooking down. Now I'm about to go in with my chicken, and of course for my beginners, we're using some pre-cooked chicken. If that rolls over there, don't worry about that. You can use that for a snack later. Then we have the sausage going in. So this is gonna brown in the bottom too. We're still continuing the browning process, but I don't wanna fully brown the rice without adding everything in there. Let's get all our ingredients in there. All right. I did not add any garlic in here yet, because when you add the garlic in your browning stage, it will tend to burn a little and give you that bitter taste in there. So don't add the garlic in there yet. We're gonna put that once we put the liquid. Now do you hear that sizzling in there? So I'm just gonna stir. But while I'm stirring, I want you to stock your pantry. Some of the dry ingredients that you should have in your pantry, get you a nice grade of granulated garlic, salt, kosher salt, some Italian seasoning, get you some curry powder, that's one of my favorites right there, cracked black pepper, some nice paprika, and get you some turmeric. I want you to start playing around with some different flavors and some different spices. Fresh, to me, is always better, but if you can't, you have a nice mixture in there. And of course I have my seasonings here too. That's my Chef Celeste seasoning blend. You can find that, just check me out on my website, it's okay. So stir. You see how this is starting to come along? The chicken is breaking up a little bit in here. This is what you want it to look like right here. So in a few minutes we're gonna add some chicken stock. You can buy your chicken stock already. You don't have to go all the way from scratch, you know, boiling the bones and things like that. I'm not trying to make it complicated for you. So once we get to this stage right here, I'm gonna take my chicken stock. It is not hot. You don't want to add hot to hot. You hear that sizzle? Because if you do that, then it's gonna bubble up on you. I'm gonna turn my heat up a little bit. And you know what I can do now? I can leave this alone and move on to my next project, because all I need for this to do is cook. And we're gonna add a little bit of salt in there. 2 pinches, okay? Cajun seasoning, 3 pinches, and 3 fingers. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're gonna let this go, and we're gonna move on to the next thing. With the jambalaya, I want you all to know we eat healthy in Louisiana, so I know you should be eating healthy too. We're going to do a salad. So on here, let me move my sausage out of the way. I have my lettuce already pre-cut. I have some tomatoes that are diced up already. Add a little bit of chili in there. Look at that, just sprinkle it on. I want you to have something green with pretty much every meal that you do, okay? So that way we're lightening up our meal, and we're just trying to behave, if just a little bit. We're going to behave some, okay? All right, and I think you already know I grew up in Detroit, and I loved watching the Cajun television shows, and to be down in Louisiana now is just awesome, cooking this type of food and showing it to you, sharing it with you. I've heard that a lot of you are cooking along with me, so please do that. So just keep cooking with me. Send me some photos of some of the things that you're doing. This is a nice little salad. It's not complicated. I am not going to add a dressing on here because we don't need dressing with everything. Leave the ranch in the cabinet. Leave all of your, leave the vinegar, the oil. If you have to do that sometimes, it's okay. But sometimes it's also okay to eat a plain salad. You have enough ingredients in here that you don't have to add anything else. Does it look plain and simple? Yes, but you have olives in here, you have tomatoes in here, you have onions in here. So when you take a bite, each bite is going to be nice and flavorful, okay? So this is what we have. I'm going to show you the finished product in a little bit, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to do the salad first because you know you need your greens. So let's just put that in something pretty. Even if it's for yourself, I want you to put it in something pretty, okay? No matter what you're doing, treat yourself just like you would treat a guest, okay? Just like you would go out to a restaurant to eat, plate it up nice and pretty, treat yourself like a little queen or king of the manor. All right, now, I'm gonna scrape, okay? Because we're down to the bottom. There we go, set that off to the side. Give it a little, I want some red pepper on there, spice it up a bit. Put that on there. Done. Okay, we got that. Now we're going over to the jambalaya. With the jambalaya, get you a nice vessel. Go right down in the middle of it. This is family style, so I'm going to put a lot of it in here. It is not one serving, so do not treat it like it's one serving, okay? Everything in moderation. But this is a nice family meal. It's one dish. It's a good way to use up some of the food that you've already cooked. If you have cooked chicken already, even if you have, and now this is my little tip, if you have rice that's already cooked and chicken that's already cooked, you can speed this process up at home, okay, by just mixing everything together, still kind of doing the steps that I showed you, but it takes a lot less time because your rice and your chicken, they're already cooked. Okay, so put that in there. Let's spread it around a little bit. Now, I want to put some of the meat on top. You want them to see what they're eating in here. So we got some sausage right here. This is my decoration, some of my decoration, because the main thing about our cooking in Louisiana is it's packed full of flavor. Everything does not have to be unhealthy. We do a lot of healthy cooking in here, and you're going to find that out throughout the show. But the main thing, you want to add flavor on flavor. It's layers of flavor. That's what you want when you come to New Orleans. That's what you want when you come to Baton Rouge, Lafayette. Remember, we're going around Louisiana. So I'm going to take you around with flavors. Start off with your jambalaya, nice and simple. Let me know what your finished product looks like, okay? Got your main dish, got your vegetables, okay? I'll be right back. All right, folks, now we're gonna move on to our next dish. We're grilling off some salmon, and with the salmon, it's right here nice and pretty. Get you the best cut that you can find, and then meet your local grocer, the manager, in the meat department, your butcher. So I want to thank Matherns for supplying us with this beautiful cut of meat. And so what we have, green beans, veggies. we're going to put a cream cheese to go with that. So I have cream cheese, I have some soy sauce, we have some hot sauce going in there, we have onions, tomatoes. But your first trick, because we're going to put garlic in there too, I want you to take your garlic clove, put it here, put a little bit of oil on there, just a touch, you don't need a lot. You can rub it on there in a minute, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Close it up. Your oven is already at 350. Put that in the oven. Your house is going to smell so good. Roasted garlic. That's what we're going to add in here also. So that's already roasting. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to add my cream cheese to my bowl because the salmon is only going to take a minute to cook, so we don't need a whole lot of time on that. So let's take the cream cheese, get it in here. Whatever brand you like, that's what you use. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you get whatever kind, but in Louisiana we like to use Creole cream cheese. So if you can get your hands on some Creole cream cheese, put that in there because that is something that is local to us. And just kind of move it around a little bit. I got a little bit on my hand here. Let me wipe that off here. You already know I don't like my hands to be dirty, so that's just one of my things. So just move that around, warm it up a little bit. In there, add some of your black pepper, as much as you can stand. I like it hot, I'm still going. So add that in there, a little pinch of salt. We're gonna add a little bit of the soy sauce in here. Or we're gonna add a little bit of the honey in here. And again, I like to use the farmer's market, so this is actually bocage honey. And depending on where you get the honey from, where the beehives are, that gives it a different flavor. So these have feasted on soybean, which makes it nice and kind of sweeter than normal. So let that go. And you see how it's kind of, you just got to mix it a little bit, and it's going to loosen up for me. So don't worry about that, okay? So let that go right there. I'm going to give it some texture to help it loosen up a little bit. So let me sit it right here. Let me get my onion. Again, you know, on the knife. 1, 2, 3, right there. So move that out of the way. I'm just going to cut a chunk off right now. I'll show you how to do the onion the traditional way in a little bit. Just chop. I know where my fingers are. I know where you are. That's why I'm looking at you. Once you get to know where your fingers are, you'll be able to chop like a pro. I can close my eyes. I can do this all day long. Don't close your eyes if you don't know how to use a knife, okay? All right. And this is something I love to use just my raw talent here. I very seldom use a blender or anything like that. If that's what you like to do, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. I won't say you cannot. I'm going to add my onion in here. And I keep right now, these ingredients are fairly simple. We'll get a little bit more complex later on. Now, let's add some tomato in there. I didn't wipe the knife because I'm putting all this tomato in there. All right, just chop, chop, chop. And this is what I love to do. Even as a kid, I would get in the kitchen and cook and do all of that. When I first left to go to college, I was not going to be a chef. And I'm going to tell you something that I never told anyone else. And my daughter's actually in studio with me, but she does not know this here. As a kid growing up, food used to chase me in my dreams. So it'd be like a tomato chasing me or bell pepper, and I'd wake up with nightmares or whatever. And you know, it stopped once I became a chef. But I didn't become a chef until I was 27 years old. So I took a leisure baking class, and the rest is history. So, you know, I just love to cook. I love to feed people. I love to teach people how to cook. So that is what I am doing. You see how that's starting to come together now? So this is all about the flavors. So all we're going to do is just keep mixing, and then we're going to move over to the salmon in a minute. I'm going to let this finish warming up. I'm going to actually warm this up. So if you have some plastic wrap or something, you can do that. You can add whatever you like. I think I want a little more heat. I'm going to add some hot sauce. You like hot sauce? I like hot sauce. And if you notice, I have crackers on the board. You can use bread or whatever, but I keep crackers at home. I love crackers. I like crackers and jelly. I like crackers and cream cheese. So that's what we're going to have today. Okay, so we're going to come back and I'm going to put it all together, let this rest for a minute. And I'll add some more color right before I get ready to serve this to you, okay? So I'm gonna increase the heat. We're moving on to the salmon now. Add a little bit of oil in there. Let it coat the bottom. You see how it's starting to spread out. You can see the heat on here, but I want it a little higher because I actually left the skin on. So I want that skin to get nice and crispy. So I'm going to put it skin side first, okay? So this is a large piece. So I'm going to cut this here because I don't want to use the whole thing for one person. Down the middle. You see that skin on there? Look at that. I'm gonna cut these into 4s because that just looks prettier on the plate, if you're wondering why. All right, now with my clean hand, I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning on here. So a little bit of granulated fennel. Play with your flavors. I want you to get out of your comfort zone of just using salt, pepper, and garlic. That's the basics. So please keep that in your repertoire, but I want you to add some things. We're gonna add a little bit of chili on there. And we are gonna get some Creole garlic seasoning on there too. So let me test my heat. Nope, I want it a little hotter than that. Let's go up a little. You wanna hear that sizzle when you go in. So by all means, if you don't hear that sizzle at first, don't put it in there, because it may stick to the bottom of the pan, and that is not what we're looking for. So it is okay to take it out, okay? Everything doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be delicious. Remember that. So make sure you keep it nice and fresh. All right, now we're going to add a little bit of pepper to the top of it. And you can marinate your salmon the day before if you want to. You don't have to necessarily just do it on the spot. So let's do that. You see that heat? Now I'm going to turn it back down a little bit because I'm going to get that sear as soon as I put it in there. Okay, let me move it around a bit. See that? Now, listen. There we go. That's what we're looking for. The skin is going to get nice and crispy. I'm only going to do it medium. If you want your salmon well done, that's okay. Cook it the way you like it. Cook it the way you're going to eat it, the way your family is going to eat it. Everything is about the way you want to cook it, okay? Remember that when you're in the kitchen, I want you to always remember it's about you and what you're cooking and your guests. So take my recipes and embellish them. Make them yours, okay? That's what I like to do. So let this go for a couple of minutes, and while we're doing that, we're gonna wait because we're gonna use the green beans. We're gonna toss these in a minute. I just want them warm, just gently, okay? So while we're talking, I'll tell you a little bit about me. In Louisiana, I have a couple of restaurants, and they're Chef Celeste Bistro, so please come to Baton Rouge, visit me when you come there, because you're gonna wanna come and visit after you see all of this wonderful food. So we like to have customers walk up, they read the menu, and they ask for something totally different. Can you do this, chef? And the answer is 9 times out of 10, yeah, we'll do that. So I love when, and most chefs love when you come up and you ask them to make something that brings out our creative side. So please feel free to do that. So let me check this one here and see where we are. We're gonna let it go a little bit more. I'm gonna move them over to the middle, and they're starting to get a little bit of color on there. I don't want to flip them yet, because what you don't want to do, you want to kind of hold off on flipping back and forth, back and forth. So don't do that. Let me get my heat back up. All right, now just let that go. My garlic, meantime, is in the oven, smelling pretty good. So we'll get that out in a little bit. Okay, so while that's going, we're going to make our sauce. So, soy sauce going in. Honey going in. Now, let me get my spatula, because this is not waste. You don't want to waste the honey. And try, if at all possible, to get honey that's locally produced where you are, because to me that's the best honey that you can get, the ones that are locally produced. I'm going to add a touch, not much. That's about a 1/4 teaspoon of oil. We're going to add a little bit of salt in there. I'm going to add a little bit of my Creole garlic seasoning in there, and some ginger. Now, why am I adding ginger? Because I like ginger, and this is my recipe. So you add the extra one in there that you want to have in there, okay? that is my philosophy on cooking. Add something in there, a flavor that you actually like in there. So let me see here. We're gonna get this going and I'll be right back. Okay, so when you get that sear on your skin side, then you want to turn it over. You get that nice little crunch on there. So now the garlic is out. Take that out of the foil. I'm going to cut off the top and just kind of squeeze that out of there and let it come out. Actually, if it doesn't want to squeeze out, it's okay. Kind of make it come out. Smash it open a little bit. Push that over to the side, and you can let it stay in the oven longer and it will actually just squeeze out of there, but we won't have time for all of that today. If you don't have time, don't sit there and wait. Make it work, okay? That's what you do. You can sit it on your cutting board and watch what I'm doing. Rub, rub. Add a little pinch of salt to it. That helps it to get softer, faster, and you can kind of mince it up. Let me add that in here. I'm going to add some here, well, all of it actually. Now I want my green beans. Let's pick up the platter, pick up your green beans, slide them on in. You can be delicate and dainty and all of that. You're going to find out I am not. Okay, if you like to place everything nice and pretty on the board, do that. I'm not going to do that. It's going to look delicious. It's not going to be just 1, 1, 1, but 1, 1, 1 is okay. So just let these get a little bit of color on them. Again, we want flavor on everything. So again, Creole garlic. Pinch, tiny pinch of salt. We're going back in with some fennel. Oh, I didn't tell you to put fennel in your pantry. Put some fennel in your pantry. I love the flavor. I can actually grow fennel outside. That's the one thing, one of the couple of things that I can grow. So now, this is pretty much what I have. I'm gonna let my green beans get a little bit more temperature, a little warm. That's all I want, just knock the chill off of them. You still want that crunch to them. And we're about to plate. So I'm gonna put this on a plate for you, drizzle all my nice sauce over the top of it, and that is a wrap, folks. We are going to eat dinner, okay? We'll be right back. Ready to eat? I'm ready to eat. Okay, so this is how you plate. Put your green beans here. You don't have to use them all yet. Then we're going in with the salmon. Some, we're going to put skin side down. I know we said it's crunchy, but you're going to serve immediately. Some we're going to put skin side up. 2 separate areas. I don't know why I turned that over. Right there. Now, I'm going to go back in with the rest of my green beans. I'm going to put some right here. And then we're going in with the sauce. Okay? So give your sauce a stir before you put it in there, because remember, this is the honey and your soy sauce. A little drizzle right on top. Let me pull that up. Look at that. I don't know about you, but my mouth is watering. So here, when you get ready to serve, you can put a little bit of the green beans in there. It's going to spread out a little bit. It's okay. That's what it's meant to do. We didn't thicken this up, remember? Okay. Set that over to the side. That is a wrap. Now we're going to do our spread on our crackers. So you can do this right before you get ready to eat, or what I would do is just let everybody pick up their own little crackers, and then they can put their own little spread on there and go from there. Just a little dollop on here. So a tip, this can be done in advance, and you can take this same cream cheese and you can put it on a bagel. You can put some lox on there if you're here in New York, wherever you are. Just put some lox on there. You can put some crab meat on there in Louisiana, New Orleans, wherever. Let's add our seafood on there, because a lot of this seafood is, well, it's just awesome anyway. So I want to thank the Louisiana Seafood Promotion Board too, because they gave me so many goodies here to bring to you to show you what we have to offer. So we have this on here, but we need color. I like color on my plate. Give a little bit of sprinkle of your favorite seasoning on there. It doesn't matter what you want to use. I'm going to add a little bit of crushed red pepper on here. Just a touch. I don't want to put too much heat on you right now, okay? So just a touch of the crushed red pepper. So you have your appetizer, you have your main course. Remember, we made the jambalaya, and you had your salad to go along with that. So we are well-rounded here when you do your little dinner party, okay? Or just cooking for one, cooking for two, it doesn't matter. Keep it Louisiana style. Cook like me. I'm Chef Celeste. So on the next episodes, we're still gonna take you around Louisiana, but we're gonna do some braised chicken. We're gonna throw something else in there. It'll be a surprise because I like to keep you on your toes and keep you watching. But remember, like I said last time, you wanna play these back as many times because I want you to cook along with me. So let's cook along, let's eat together. I'll see you next time. I'm Chef Celeste, and this is My Louisiana Kitchen.